Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Beaver News. I'm Conrad Cartmell.
And I'm Dana Delgado. Thanks for joining us this evening. We come to college so that post-graduation we can obtain the job of our dreams, but are recent grads actually getting what they paid for? Holly Clausen has the full story.
After 4 years of agonizing midterms, stressful registration, and coffee-filled all-nighters, you have finally earned your degree and it's time for you to graduate. Only to find that up to 6 months later, you either settle for a job in a fast food restaurant or unemployed altogether. Unfortunately, for over 40% of college graduates, this is exactly the case. Hello, I'm Holly Clausen, and this is Need to Know, where the Beaver News digs deeper into the issues that affect you. According to a report by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, up to 44% of recent college graduates are underemployed, and unemployment is up to 6% for these same students. Although unemployment for recent college graduates has decreased over the past couple years, it's still not as low as it was before the recession. As seen in this graph presented by the U.S. Census Bureau and the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, you can see that unemployment for college graduates is less than the working-age population, but still higher than average. And in this graph, also presented by the U.S. Census Bureau and the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics showing underemployment, as of 2012, recent college graduates are more than 10% more underemployed than college graduates in general, meaning that they take a job either not in their field of study or a job not requiring a college degree. Obviously, numbers like these are not ideal for college graduates, and Oregon State is doing what they can to help their recently graduated OSU students. No matter where you are on campus, signs for job opportunities and internships are posted on bulletin boards in almost every hall, and it seems like almost every week you see a new sign for a career fair put on by the current administration. But what's even more helpful and even more unheard of is that separate colleges actually have separate programs to help students in their field of study obtain employment after graduation. One of these being the Career Success Center, found on the second floor of Bexell Hall and used for the College of Business. Brandy Furman of the Career Success Center explains how this program can help their students.
Well, a student's job is to get educated and get employed, so we make sure that our students are connected. We know that 85% of all jobs are obtained through networking, and so we create networking opportunities. We help students in business tailor their resumes and their interview skills to particular fields that they'll be going into, and we also make sure that our students are aware of what they're up against when they leave.
Furman also explains why she thinks that entering the job force is hard for students at this day and age.
I think students are definitely going into an economy that's a little bit more challenging, and the main concern is not that they won't be employed, but that they will be employed outside of their field, or they'll be employed or underemployed for what their qualifications are. And since part of the things that they need to do as a student is make sure that they're connected and make sure that they have an ability to move smoothly into the job market, it's essential that they come in from the beginning and work with career services so that they have a clear idea of where they're going and start networking so that they can build a team. So it definitely helps alleviate a lot of the stress and the pressure when they graduate if they start out early working with the Career Center.
Also from the Career Center, Tamara Mitchell explains her view on this as well.
It's really competitive out there, and so students today have to work during their school time to make themselves more marketable so that when they do graduate, that they stand out from those that are also competing for the same job. So the earlier that they can get involved, whether that's a club, volunteering, whatever it is, or get internships or multiple internships, the better. And so we try to help encourage that and give them opportunities to do that.
For more information on internships in your degree of study, make sure that you visit your separate college for internship opportunities. I'm Holly Clausen, and this has been What You Need to Know.
Students here at OSU are faced every term with the pain and expense of buying textbooks. It is not uncommon to spend hundreds of dollars on books for a single term and have little luck trying to sell them back later on. But thankfully, the university has taken notice and strides are being made to end this problem. The Open Textbook Initiative is a collaboration between OSU Libraries, OSU Press, and OSU Extended Campus that provides financial, technical, and editorial support for faculty members. Online publications of books will be made available to students in formats including HTML, PDF, iBooks, and EPUB. Not only will they be available to all OSU students, but the publications will also include Creative Commons licenses, allowing students at other universities to access the text at no cost. In the 2014-15 school year, 4 books will be made available as part of the initiative's first phase. This project will really set the stage for teaching and will be a great benefit to students.
So what do students think about this topic? Madeline Lee and Leo Williams asked Oregon State students how they felt about using online versus physical textbooks for their classes for questions in the quad.
Students spend hundreds of dollars on textbooks each term, and Oregon State is looking for solutions on how to make textbooks and higher education more affordable.
One way that Oregon State is looking into this is having online textbooks, which the extended campus has been using.
Today in Questions on the Quad, we're asking students if they would benefit from these online textbooks or if they would prefer to use the textbooks that we've been using for years.
I think that having the books online would be nice because we purchase these books and they're really expensive and we sometimes don't even end up using them. And I'm in 4 classes right now and I've only used 1 book and bought all 4 of them. So I would prefer that online, plus everything's kind of moving online these days, so it's just be easier.
It kind of depends on the class. Like literary classes, I probably would rather have a hardback book, but like economics and stuff like that, I'm okay with doing ebooks. That's what I do right now for a lot of my business classes.
I'd probably prefer in-hand textbook because I can highlight it and write all over it.
So you don't like the idea of having a textbook on a screen?
No, I'm terrible with computers, and so that'd just be a pain.
What about like saving money? Does that matter to you, or you like just prefer to continue to spend more money on textbooks just to have it on hand?
Much rather spend money. Yeah, I would.
Personally, I don't even end up buying the actual textbooks because I just don't even end up using them. So
if you don't buy the textbooks, what do you use? Just your notes and everything?
Yeah, just the notes, exactly. Yeah, I find that more helpful than actually going through the book. I mean, if you have a good teacher, that's pretty much all you need to really do.
I guess to me, I don't really use my textbooks very much since I've been here, and like some of them I haven't even had to actually buy. The only 2 I've had to buy were like ones where I had to get the online code for the homework or anything, which to me seems silly that I bought a textbook when the textbook's online. So I enjoy it more when it's online, I guess you could say, because I think it's cheaper and easier.
I think that it's easier to read textbooks out of the book instead of online, and you kind of lose money because you don't get to sell books back at the end of the term.
This new concept for the 2014-2015 school year is revolutionizing the way we as students learn and professors are giving out information.
I, for one, love having textbooks on hand, but I definitely can see how ebooks and online access is a great way for students to learn. I'm Madeline Lee.
And I'm Leah Williams, and this is Questions in the Quad.
Back, we'll hear what to expect with the weather this week.
Welcome back to the show. Since we're talking about textbooks, we have Mike Yeager, an OSU grad student, to talk to us about this topic. How's it going, Mike?
It's good. Thanks for having me tonight. I've been working with students. We call ourselves the Pioneer Publishers and Digital Storytellers Guild, and we've been traveling around the state writing textbooks on a variety of topics.
It's really interesting. How does it tie into the Oregon Textbook Initiative?
I think eventually, just because we're kind of the ubiquitous tools that your generation uses. It's where we're headed. And I think we have to prepare that as educators.
It's really cool. What are some of the topics you guys have written about already?
We have written on archaeological digs, a couple of western forts in the area, and a couple of powwows.
What do you think is the next kind of jump for it? What's the next thing you guys are working on?
What I'd like to see the university do is to move kind of a hybrid course prospect so students could get history or humanities credits, maybe women's studies, and at the same time get credit for doing projects in media.
Right, great. Well, thank you, Mike. We appreciate you being here tonight.
Thanks for your time.
The last couple of days have been an absolute downpour. Aubrey Valentine is braving the rain to tell us how long it's going to last.
Hey there, OSU. I'm Aubrey Valentine, and thanks for tuning into this week's Weathercast. So far this week, we've seen slightly warmer temperatures with our weekly average in the upper 50s. Let's see how the rest of the week will be. This Tuesday, our weather here in Corvallis was beautiful, with high temperatures of the day around 60 degrees and full sunshine. It was really great to see people enjoying the nice weather. Today, we had slightly colder temperatures and some rain, which is expected to let up tomorrow into some sunshine. There's only a 10% chance of rain tomorrow through Saturday, with warmer temperatures in the 60s. The rain may return for a bit Sunday through Monday. However, next Tuesday and Wednesday will be partly cloudy with low chances of rain. With all the rain we've been experiencing, our campus has been greener than ever, and it's safe to say spring is not too far away. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening. Keep your days glistening. I'm Aubrey Valentine.
Have you ever looked at your trash and wondered if you could repurpose it? We'll see just how inspired Oregon State students are by the waste around us. Thanks for staying with us. Although everyone wants to be able to dress in clothing that they love, not everyone thinks about how what they wear affects the environment. But at Oregon State's Trash and Fashion Show, OSU designers get to show off their fierce and earth-friendly creations.
Hi, my name is Julia Cameron. We're here setting up today at the MU Ballroom for the Fashion and Trash and Recycling Fashion Show here at OSU.
It's really important that we raise awareness for recycling because it's very easy to get caught up in all this consumerism and waste. I know that oftentimes I'll buy water bottles and forget to recycle them. So shows like this inspire people to recycle because it shows what you can do with those things that you're discarding that we usually don't think twice about when we get rid of them. Recycled products are a very interesting way to show fashion. It's a way to get people who may not really understand recycling or who may not think about it very often, such as designers who go through lots of paper and stuff in the process of making clothes, to really think about what they're using. So they're thinking about all the materials that they're using, everything that they're wasting. We have a $5 limit on each garment on how much you can spend on it. So it's a very thoughtful process. Our designers really found us. This is a show that's been very popular on campus for a really long time, and it's a great way to get exposure into the community. And it's great because we have so many people here who are very passionate about the environment and about recycling. We actually have a lot of students here who aren't apparel design majors. We have people from forestry, from biology here. So it's really great, and it's a great way for them to express themselves in a way that makes sense to them and to other people.
We came up with this concept approximately 24 years ago, and since then we have been evolving and designers have been getting more and more creative. It's just so impressive. There's a girl this year who made a garment out of dryer lint. There are girls who made it out of corn husks, and each year there's different materials, and it really just shows the versatility of Oregon State designers. This is my third year designing. But other girls, this is their fourth year, other girls it's their first, some it's their sixth. So it really just varies depending on who the designer is. Be sustainable because, you know, it's really important in the world, because if you're not environmentally responsible, the world will die.
We're apparel design majors, so we just heard about it through the school system and our classes. And we actually worked it last year. She was a model for a different designer, and I was an assistant to the designer. We combined our original dresses. We were doing them individually, so it took about 2 weeks. For me, I knew I wanted to make a dress with records, but I had no idea how I was going to put it together. So it was a process of elimination, really. I just started molding it, and I tried flame or just using a hairdryer, which ended up working out. It was very you have to be resourceful and use what you have.
I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I've attended this show and modeled this show every year for the last 5 years, so it was really nice to be able to see it come to a close in my last year here at Oregon State. I think the Ishes, the guy who won the design Dean's Pick, I've always admired his aesthetic and his craftsmanship.
The guy who won Dean's Choice, Ish, is incredibly talented, and I always hear him talking in class about what he's working on, who he's trying to get to model for him. The way he used the boots that came out of his shoulders, like shoulder pads, was so innovative and just, I don't know. I think he's a visionary. He's a really interesting designer just to talk to.
To be honest, I kind of think I take things out of my dreams and just kind of create them. Then I also use my reality of what's going on in my life, and I just kind of put them together. There was an evolution. I call it the Queen Evolution. And then I used that out of the mattress, which was a queen mattress. So that's where the whole thing came off. That's where you see the darkness come in, and then you see the light fall. So how to turn the dark to power, a queen, because we're all queens.
This has been Stephanie Paul and Julia Cameron for KBVR News.
Keep it couture, Corvallis.
That was really interesting. Have you ever been to one of the recycled fashion shows?
No, I haven't, but I think next year I'm definitely going to have to go. I didn't know it was such a big deal. That's really neat.
Yeah, that was really impressive. They were super resourceful. I would have never thought to make, clothes out of a lot of the materials that they use.
I know. I loved those boots for shoulder pads. That was really resourceful. I liked that a lot.
Those were pretty great. I also liked the bubble wrap.
Yeah. They know what they're doing.
Definitely. Many Oregon State students are used to getting around Corvallis by bike, but did you know that you can bike your way to a delicious smoothie? This was just one of the activities at the event thrown by the OSU Nutrition and Dietetics Club this past week, which was put on to make students more aware of their own health choices. As part of the event, attendees were given the opportunity to participate in a number of enjoyable and educational pursuits. There was a March Madness-themed vegetable vote for the best vegetable to eat, and a number of local companies, including Bob's Red Mill and the First Alternative Co-op, presented about eating healthy foods. Although this event only comes once a year, it's important to remember to be mindful of your health all the time. If you want more inspiration for living healthily, you can check out the Oregon State Nutrition and Dietetics Club.
Most of us take for granted being able to use a knife to cut something, but one group at OSU is carving their own tools. Hayden Wilcox brings us the story.
As this morning's special guest arrives at the table, students prepare for butchery. But unlike most days at the Clark Meat Center, there isn't a single knife in sight. These students are going old school, way old school. Today these students are taking a slice of the caveman life by only using handcrafted stone tools.
And that's going to separate our ham or leg from our loin and our belly.
For this past term, students in Dr. Lauren Davis's archaeological lithics class have been hammering away at recreating technology that founded our species. But making the tools is one thing. Actually utilizing the tools gives students a better understanding of how humans survived thousands of years ago, which, if you think about it, is the whole point of archaeology.
If we were to do this activity like peoples of the past might have pursued it, there'd be very little of this animal that we wouldn't use. In this class, the students learn about stone tool technologies of the past, and in the process of not only learning how to make the stone tools, we also learn about aspects of how they're used and employed. And the students are using obsidian, which is a stone tool material that was used commonly in the Northwest.
This class makes it possible to actually see the whole lithic process, from conception of tool, creation of tool, use of tool, and how this would play in a community.
It's amazing making something yourself and using it for glue, and it works.
I think this is a pretty neat experience. Seeing these guys come in here with obsidian tools and stuff they had back in ancient times, a little bit more archaic than I'm used to. I still think they do a great job with the tools that they have.
This part's mine!
If I had to, I'd definitely take one of these classes.
One tool the whole time if it's getting really dull.
The abdominal muscles.
That's bacon.
Or the bacon.
This class has easily been the best class of this term for me. It's just been so different than anything else I've done in terms of the activities and the labs. I mean, this is just the perfect example of not an opportunity you don't get to do very often.
And what happens to the rest of the meat once it's been butchered?
You want to throw it in there? Barbecue sauce?
If we want to, we can take it home. I'm personally not going to because I don't have an easy way to store the meat. So I'm going to gift it to someone who would like to take it home.
That will expose your knuckle too, and then eventually your eye around.
From the Clark Meat Center, this is Hayden Wilcox for the Beaver News.
Next up, how have the Beavers athletic teams been doing recently? We'll have answers to all the questions after a short break.
Campuses Take Charge is dedicated to making OSU one of the most energy-efficient campuses in the nation, and we need your help.
I take charge.
I take charge.
I take charge.
I'm a fourth-year engineering student.
I'm a senior instructor of geosciences at OSU.
I'm the OSU Sustainability Coordinator.
And I take charge by eating vegan.
I take charge by raising my own chickens for eggs.
I take charge by meeting 100% of my home's needs with photovoltaic panels.
I'm the Student Diversity Budgeting Co-Chair, and I take charge by buying in bulk.
How do you take charge?
Visit energizecorvallis.org and pick 3 energy-saving actions to try for 1 month. At the end of the month, give us feedback about your actions, and we'll send you a coupon card for local Corvallis businesses.
Take charge.
No, we're coming back to Conrad on 2.
Welcome back. Here to give us the scoop on all things OSU sports are Brooke Chrysler and Anna Singer for our Thursday night sports segment.
The number 14's Oregon State gymnastics team spent their senior night battling Nebraska and Arizona State, but unfortunately the Beavers fell short of the smallest margins as Nebraska scored a 196.650 to Oregon State's final score of 196.625. OSU had a great start on vault with Chelsea Tang, Erica Offiero, and Taylor Keeker scoring impressive numbers, but the back half of the lineup was unable to keep these high scores, which left the Beavers with a final vault score of 48.950 and a tie for second place in the opening stanza. On the bars, Madeline Gardiner, Chelsea Tang, and Hannah Casey posted career-high marks, with Offiero and Brittany Harris right behind, leading the Beavers to tally a season-high 49.350 on the event, to take the lead over the Huskers at the midpoint in the meet. Clinging to a 1/10 lead going into the beam exercise, Cerise Witherby's career-best 9.875 started the Beavers on the right foot as they looked to separate from the competition. However, Nebraska's vault score of 49.250 kept the pressure on OSU. Harris tied her season best of 9.825, and Offiero tallied a 9.825 in her first career beam appearance. Tang and Gardner each posted scores of 9.85 to give the Beavers a beam team score of 49.225. OSU headed to the floor exercise with a slim lead as Witherby led off with a 9.775, Tang added a score of 9.80, and Kelsey Blaylock scored a 9.825. Gardiner performed a beautiful routine to score 9.85, and Harris closed out the senior night meet with her best routine of the season, bringing the crowd to its feet. Although Brittany Harris was awarded a 9.85, the Beavers still felt just short in time of their upset bid to Nebraska. Oregon State will be on the road the rest of the season, which begins next Sunday, March 9th at Arizona.
Last weekend, the Oregon State baseball team had a great line of wins against Wright State, now pushing to a 7-2 this season. The fourth-ranked baseball team tallied 10 to a 7-0 win. Pitches in his third start of the season. To help the Beavers offensively, Michael Conforto scored the Beavers with 2 in the first ground out and sacrificed fly to left the Davis, who then drove in 2 in the third. With Ben Wetzler coming back on Sunday, he played a great game in his first 3 innings as he retrieved 9 out of the 10 batters he faced and did not allow a hit, inducing 7 ground ball outs. Oregon State went ahead for good in the 5th, scoring twice despite hitting just 1 ball to the outfield. In Sunday's game, Clark and Conforto each drove in 2 runs, and Trevor Morrison has 2 hits and scored 3 times. Oregon State reached double figures in scoring for the 3rd time this season, aided by a season-high 13 walks and 3 hit batsmen. In the last 6 games, the Beavers are 5-1, and they won the series 3-1. It is exciting to see the baseball team taking victory, and we'll hopefully see this again as the Beavers play this Friday at 5:05 p.m. against Northern Illinois.
On Wednesday night, the Beavers men's basketball team fell just short of what would have been a memorable upset over the number 3 Arizona Wildcats. After a back-and-forth first half that included a 17-4 run by the Wildcats, the Beavers' physicality and relentlessness on the boards left them only trailing by 3. Oregon State would continue to keep the game close in the second half and held a 62-61 lead with 6 minutes left.
Despite this, Arizona was able to make plays down the stretch and went on to win 74-69. Roberto Nelson led the Beavs with 25 points, and Devin Collier contributed a double-double with 14 points and 11 rebounds. Oregon State plays Arizona State at 1:30 p.m. on Saturday in the regular season finale, where 6 seniors will play their last home game at Gill for Senior Day.
Well, that's all the sports we have for you tonight. I'm Anna Singer.
And I'm Brooke Chrysler. We will see you next term.
Thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in each week this term. We'll be back in the spring to bring you more Beaver news. I'm Dana Delgado.
And I'm Conrad Cartmell. If you'd like to stay updated on our happenings, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and watch us on YouTube at Beaver News. Have a great night.